to describe Anna to you. She's a wonderful young lady. She's now residing in Scotland, but she's from Daneland, or the Holland area, I should say, or Netherlands. She can correct me later on. She's worked with several organizations, young enterprises that have started up. She has a holistic, strategic perspective, financial skills, and innovative approach. She's worked on e-commerce, personal development, facilitation, and independent schools as a CEO, project manager of capital projects, including 10 years as a board advisor. She took over a school in 2007 as a CEO, and basically the school had no mission, didn't have the values formulated, published, etc. And so she brought in a strategic plan. Then she came to Scotland in 2018, and by 2019 in Christmas, she had her first small client, a SaaS business, software as a service. And then did short-term consulting work for onshore mining for a big scale company. And it goes on from there. I'm going to stop because Anna, you have a long pedigree, and I'm going to turn it over to you.
Right, thank you for the kind welcome. It's good to see you all, and I know most of you because we've met several times, and I'm so happy that I've got the opportunity of presenting to you today. Now, I am a strategist and normally operate in the entire business, but to limit today's talk to the time frame, I am actually focusing on the foundation, how to create the foundation that should set off a successful business. There are some very relevant considerations that you should take before you go so far. So I will share my screen with you so I can show my presentation, and then any questions that you have, I'll take after the presentation and or discussions. I like to hear input in improvements. So let's just get going there. I will move on in the presentation. Now, this is in the machine room of the company. If you sort of break it up into components, that is what it consists of. Today, I'm not occupying myself with anything below the lower part of this because I think there's enough said about that, and it's individual for each business. So my focus today will be on the top part, and I should have made that first slide and look at a house, and I couldn't do it. I didn't have time to do it, but only got the idea today. Never mind. Here we are. The directors are individuals in a company, and in the beginning it's very much yourself that is running it, but it's important that you within yourself know what you want out of it. What is your personal ambitions? What is it you want to do with your life, work towards? What goals do you have on yourself? Be selfish, really selfish, and feel for yourself. What is it? It could be early retirement. It could be financially independent. It could be good work-life balance, so you could be with a family. It could be becoming a serial entrepreneur. It could be working part-time. It could be, I want to be a granddad more than I want to be a business owner. It could be anything. But it's important that you're aware of them, because it's actually what you're expecting your business to fulfill. Now, this situation becomes a little more complex once your business starts expanding and you employ people and you get more than one director. The team of directors actually need to align their ambitions from their personal ambitions, because it affects the business itself, and it actually is forming their vision for going forward. And if they do not agree or have not got the same ambitions for themselves and therefore for the business, then you can see how they end up conflicted in this. Just to take an example, one of the directors want to have early retirement, and he is going full steam towards acquiring as many businesses as possible, sell them off, make a bunch of money very quick. The other one saying, no, I just want it steady and slowly. I want a stable income the rest of my life, and at least until I retire, but that's not yet. And that's it. These two opposing opinions is forming their decision making in the company. So if one employee goes and asks one director, what do you think I should do? They'll get one answer. And if they go to the other one, they'll get another answer. because they have completely different outlooks. That's why it's so important that they actually align their ambitions for the business as well. And it needs to be a compromise, because you can't fulfill everybody's ambitions in that context. And it would be strange if they all had exactly the same outlook. So the compromise needs to be done, and it becomes the vision of the company. Why is all these things so important? Well, it is important because partly it also when you have the vision, I will speak a bit more about that in a minute. It's so important because it also depends on what strategic risks you are prepared to take. It is also depending on how you see growth be achieved. If it's through organic growth, where you get 1 client, 2 clients, and live of referrals, or you want to do a merger and acquisition, or you want to go even crazier by also starting to list the company. So it's or take on venture capital for growing a new line, or whatever it is. But all these decisions involve certain levels of risk. And if one person is risk adverse and the other one is very much a risk taker, then they will not be agreeing on how to go forward. That's why these ambitions has to be agreed upon, because the vision that they end up sitting down is actually also forming or going to be the foundation of their strategic approach, how to get there. So to hit bullseye, they have to agree on this. Other things that they need to align is the company values. We all have our different values. We all have different expectations of what is right and wrong. Some of them are similar, but what we really want from people and the way we want them to react in different situations, we have different expectations there. Some people get very worked up fast, have a temper. Other people are calm as a sea, and then all of a sudden explode. There's an approach to other people and an openness. You go either collaborative or you work best on your own. You're open or a bit more closed, depending on your nature. But these things, the way you want, what you see is important of approaching and the attitudes and the behavior within your company is actually forming the culture that you see. And some people are very experimental. Other people say, well, no, I'll just go with what other people have done. They're more following. They're not starting new things up. And they maybe just, I'm trying to illustrate the differences that can arise within the different directors' mindset and the way or attitudes of behavior. And again, if they have different values and they are not coordinating these values and making them operational within the company, then it's going to be very difficult to actually set out the policies for the people, make a good working environment for collaboration, agree on the employees and the people's importance, how they should interact with each other, and how they should interact with the customers, how they should interact with other stakeholders to the company. So these values become very important and forms the culture when worked in over time. The vision, which was the opinion about where are we going, everybody likes to know where they're going. It influences their leadership. And it influences the decision making, as I showed an example earlier on, and it influences, most importantly, the goal setting, because it also, I mean, obviously depending on the actual, ambitions that they have. The mission and the purpose of the company is actually something that's specified in the vision. But I don't know if you remember the game Stratego, where you actually drew a card in the beginning and you ended up go and conquer the world or take this continent. It was a sort of, that's just to show what the mission is. The mission is not the products and services that you're selling. It's what you are about to achieve for your customers. So, for instance, a travel agency would never say, "Oh, we sell holidays." No, they would say, "We make dream comes true." Uh, Black and Decker, for instance, they sell lots of tools, and amongst that, drills. But what they sell is not drills; they sell holes. Uh, just to show a couple of examples, it's not, and it's just one sentence. It's one sentence, and then you pin out a bit more how you're going about to achieve that mission, and what you're going to do it. To stay in the comparison with a travel agency is if they want to achieve make dream comes true, they will do that through providing the best possible holidays for everybody, co-designed with the people, the family, the holiday of a lifetime. And they do that with partnering with all sorts of people that makes that possible. And that could be hotel chains, airlines, events organizers, whatever the occasion or the reason for them going somewhere. And they will stipulate these visions and their strategic partnerships in the vision. Now, I said it informs the decision making. It does that once you also set the goals for it. And I've just put this in as a signpost as how goals should work. And it is basically just saying, what steps are we going to take to get there? And we all know the meaning behind the SMART thing. And it is this basically, you say that they're specific, they're measurable, they're achievable, they're realistic, and they're time bound. So you usually set them within a year's time, and then you maybe set them on an accumulated basis for the next 5 years or 10 years, however long you dare to look into the future, especially in these dynamic times. But and then you obviously have the leadership, the decision making, and the influencing, and the staff engagement, because you're all working towards the same direction. And it's like being both the locomotive, but also being the one that actually helps and collaborates and inquires and makes things flow within the business. But these goals need to be set, and they're obviously tied to KPIs, and we all know the word KPIs. And just make sure that everything that you do measure, that will get done. So it's very important to focus on measuring the right things. That's the other side of it. And maybe sometimes we're trying to fix things that actually doesn't need fixed. So it's good to have in mind to actually measure the things that you really want done, and that's important. It's aligned. These KPIs are aligned to your vision as well. So there we go. But today it's even more important. We've known a lot about the work environment is changing an awful lot. It's changing fast. It's changing a lot. People want more. They want to see companies as part of the community, take responsibility, put something back to society, to be responsible in environmental issues, human rights issues, social equity, social equality, all these very big areas that has been there for donkeys of years, but they're now become operational and a necessity to survive. And attached to this is authenticity, because you cannot do this without being honest about it. They will fall through then. So the window out to the world is to be in a continuous dialogue. Everything should be transparent and authentic. And the vision sits in the middle, and you collaborate with the world around you. When you're in contact with all the world all the time, it goes for all your stakeholders. But imagine how quickly you get information about necessary changes within the company. You get feedback from your customers saying, "Oh, we would like this to be tweaked a bit," or "Is it possible to make such and such?" That feedback goes straight into your company, and you can act on it like this. Any politics that comes out of it, falls out of the hat, you can act on immediately. Suppliers that says, "Oh, we know we are going to have some changes, or we have additional products and matches your requirements," they are also able to give you that feedback, or they can even give you, say, you need to order more this week because we know we're going to have a break because of a new machine to set up, whatever. But these collaborations and dynamic changes happens all the time, gets fed directly into the company because of the communication system. And they all work towards the vision, which both the customers and the suppliers and the employees in the company all are engaged around achieving, because we are measuring the right things, we are honoring the right things, and we are daring to experiment a little bit with new solutions. We're not experimenting in the whole business, but we're experimenting in small areas to become better all the time. We are listening to our employees that comes with suggestions about how to improve. All areas gets fed in, and everybody is informed and in continuous communication all the time. I think we have a lot to learn yet about how to actually act as a community, but basically it means that we all have our functions, and these functions are very appreciative, because we are all needed at all levels. Nothing can be done without any one of us. So the fact that we all have a function, it also means that we get an inherent responsibility of fulfilling our functions. So instead of empowering, it's an actual inherent part of any job that you have a certain power within your area to act for the business towards the vision. So there's a lot of the older management now, excuse me, the old management approaches that will actually disappear into more dynamic settings. And technology is a wonderful helper in that context. And that's it.
Thanks,